Hey, welcome everyone. It's our daily installment of Business Opportunity Live, and I'm Jeff Cohen. I'm your host. Yay for me! Woo! Woo! Anyway, I am honored to have two really special people with me. A lot of you know Celeste. She's been on with us a couple times a week for the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks now?
I don't know.
So,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I know. So, right. We've
Feels
probably
like a lifetime now.
we don't exactly know how many weeks, but it's weeks.
Yeah.
And so in today's restaurant edition, we're going to focus a lot on the tax situation around the IRS and restaurants. So there's a lot for us to look at today. And to help us in that conversation is Gene Cohen. Gene is a CPA, my CPA. He's also a tax strategist. And he is got some background noise. So, Gene, I just muted your microphone. I was hearing some background noise on this, so that's going to take it away. So we can't hear you, but when you want to say something, wave, and I'll unmute you. Okay, I'll unmute you and see. What were you saying?
Okay, the only thing is the computer hums a bit, but it shouldn't be that loud.
Okay, so maybe it's the computer. You know what? Your computer's talking. It's pissed off at the IRS for the way they're handling things. And you're going to tell us about that in a minute. So, to get us started, I'm going to talk a little bit today about what's going on in the world of small businesses. So what you guys want to know is I'm working with a lot of people today, and the capacity of a business coach and a business consultant, what I'm finding is everybody that's impacted is starting to pivot. If you haven't already, then you want to have a conversation with someone, and I'm happy to do that with you. But you really want to look at how you can pivot and shift your business so that you're able to start conducting business. We've talked about how it gets done for restaurants. We've talked about how it gets done for a lot of different kind of companies over the last few weeks. But your business has an opportunity in front of it. Don't let this go by. This is your time. I have clients in really interesting fields. I've got one client that manufactures ocean oils that's now manufacturing hand sanitizer. We're launching that website this week so that actually consumers can buy it, because you can't find the stuff at the store. It's just not there. Yeah. I've got another client that sells equipment that monitors the temperature of refrigerators for hospitals and restaurants and other environments where it's actually pretty costly and very impactful if the temperature is wrong. And they said, hey, we're targeting hospitals right now. We want to sell the hand sanitizer. Can we add that? And the answer is yes. Be creative, guys. Don't sit on your laurels. Look for new opportunities. There's no reason that you can't have a really robust business in this economy. And the economy is only bad because you haven't shifted yet. When you shift and start giving people what they want to spend their money on, they will. Mm-hmm. So I just want to check in with Gene or Celeste. Is there anything about what I just said that's hitting home for you?
No, actually, you're right. I support the Small Business Development Center under the SBA. And one thing, I was working with a client yesterday who does security guarding, and his security guarding has gone away. And I go, but right now, my fear for security is higher than it's ever been, because my new Ring doorbell tells me there's so many, robberies in my area, within a 2-mile radius. And I'm thinking, I need to get this security done and this security done, because I think things will get worse. And, I said, maybe you have to pivot how you're doing your business and supply some of those services or education on those type of things, or start looking for different client bases than you were comfortable with before. Maybe hospitals or other things need it more now.
Well, Celeste, so first off, what I heard you say is that in the security business, the mindset is I don't need to secure my business right now. Mm-hmm. Guys,
not
there's
really.
never been a time
Yes,
that you are more at risk than now.
definitely.
When people know there's no one in your business, you're a target. Do you get that? Like, you don't want to be a target.
Yep.
We have the ring system at our house, and my wife is always saying to me, hey, you see that guy? The light went on, and he suddenly turned his head down. Did you notice that? Like, people get really paranoid about this stuff, but the reality is that in our little 2-3 mile square radius, we see almost on a weekly basis, and we live in a good area,
Right.
where the police are highly regarded, where
Right.
people are breaking into other people's homes and backyards and cruising
Right.
around and taking stuff. And
Well,
that's not okay.
yeah, and like my business, I do food safety classes, and I can't do them right now because there's no proctor. So I had to change it to have the class online, collaborate with another company that actually can do the test online.
There you go.
Company in the country that does it. So now I can provide the service that they couldn't get anywhere else, so
Bottom line, find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give in. And I invite you to reach out to Celeste or to reach out to me. Both of our email addresses have been up, so just rewind for a few seconds for Celeste's. But reach out to us. By the way, if you're online with us right now, let us know. Like, share your comments or questions. We want to hear what you're hearing in the marketplace. If you're a business owner and you want to join us on this venue and share that with people, we would love that. There's nothing that excites us more than being able to share what you're up to. So please do that. So without any further ado right now, I would like to introduce my guy, Gene Cohen. So Gene, please share with us what's going on in the world of the IRS.
Well, the IRS is bending over backwards to allow small businesses, basically all businesses, but especially small businesses, to make their way in the world by taking a lot of payment dates, paperwork filing dates, and other assorted IRS red tape off the table. Basically to take the compliance load off of small businesses so that they can devote themselves to rebuilding the businesses, opening it up, and coming back to normal. So every day, it seems the IRS is putting out some new regulations to explain what's happening in the care law and the other benefit packages that are coming out of Congress. Like most things, Congress will pass a law that has 3 sentences, and the Treasury explains it to you in 12 pages of how it works. But because we're dealing with restaurants today, I brought up some points that basically are specific to restaurant owners and how they can benefit from the changes that the IRS now has on the table.
So Gene, wait, before you go there, just a quick comment. So you're telling us the IRS is trying to make our life simpler.
Yeah.
And in doing that, they're going to send out a 12-page document that makes our life simpler. Gene, I'm just curious. Has your experience of the IRS ever been that they send out a 12-page document and it makes your job simpler?
Well, it doesn't make it simpler, but they want you to know how to interpret the law in order to apply it to your clients so you could take advantage of the tax breaks that are built into it.
Okay, I understand. And your answer was no.
So, I don't know what I would do without regulations. I'd be.
Well, Gene, that's why you do that job and not me. Because, like, I read regulations, and after page 9, I start going glassy. But it sounds like you can stick it all the way through to page 12. So I'm good. That's why you're my CPA. I want someone that can make it all the way to page 12.
from experience, the so-called loopholes are in the 12 pages. So you have to read the 12 pages to fish out the loopholes, basically, is how it works.
So tell us about the loopholes, Gene. We want to know all about loopholes. We're tired of playing by the rules over here. The rules haven't done squat to help us so far.
I know, but if you don't follow them, the government is not happy. So they have the rules, and you do have to follow them.
Okay, but Gene, I'm not happy right now. So I want to know what's going to happen to the government if I'm not happy.
They're called elected. And that's where you get to express your unhappiness.
Okay, great. So I'm going to vote. I vote like now and later. Like, can I put a vote in like every day on this? Like that's where my level of happiness is right now.
You can have a little paddle. Number 1, number 7.
I basically take what they give and try to use it to the best advantage of my clients. That's basically how it works. Okay. I don't get to make.
Great. I really appreciate you sticking with the phone.
Come on, let's hear what he's got to say before you're out of time.
No, I just really appreciate him sticking with all of that. So
Okay, so here's the points that I want to cover for our restaurateurs. Okay, it's called the Employee Retention Tax Credit. So credits are good, much better than deductions, because credits actually reduce your tax dollar for dollar. A deduction only reduces your tax by your tax rate. So when it says credit, it's really a good thing. So the rules are basically apply to restaurants. If your restaurant closed or whose business declined by 50% or more compared to the same quarter last year due to the virus, okay, you will get a refundable, which means the government will send you money, payroll tax credit, for 50% of the wages paid to employees during the crisis. So basically what they're saying, if you're a restaurant, you've had this 50% decline in your revenue, the government will send you back 50% of the wages that you've paid to your employees during the virus crisis period. It applies, there's a limit, it's only to the first $10,000 of wages that you paid, including health benefits. So their deal basically goes from March 13th, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. And basically where the nice part of this is things get back to normal, unknown timeline, but according to September, October, November, and your restaurant is back to normal, they will still issue you that 50% credit up through December 31st of 2020. So even if you can't directly benefit from it now, because they've given you to December 31st, you can tap in and get this 50% credit. Basically, the government will send you money.
Okay, so Gene, what you're saying is if somebody has a business, if it's a restaurant in this case, and they've shut their restaurant down.
It's got to be a restaurant. Okay. Restaurants.
So restaurants, this is a restaurant rule only. If you have a restaurant and your business has dropped 50% or greater.
Compared to the last year.
Compared to the same quarter last year.
Right.
So you'll have to run a report of your business for last year and one for this year, quarter by quarter.
Yes.
And if you're below 50% of last year's revenue, they'll give you a credit on 50% of the wages that you paid between March 13th and December 31st of this year.
Yes, on the first $10,000.
Up to $10,000 credit.
10,000, right.
Okay, so you can't just claim a $10,000 credit. You've actually got to have the
You got to show that you qualify.
You've got to have the validation behind it. So everybody that wants this, like, what's going to be the best way for a restaurant to track this information and manage it?
The easiest way is to look at your income statement, which if you have QuickBooks or whatever software you're using, if you're not sure, you can check with your accountant and say, okay, business has declined. Here's where the regulations come in. Okay. Right now, there's no definition of whose business declined. So when I talk about regulations, the IRS will come out and say what business declined. I don't know at this point, is it your sales came off, fell off, your profit fell off? It just says right now, business declined, but no definition of business. This is where the regs will come in. The IRS will say the definition of business decline is, and then you'll be able to measure. So again, the devil's in the details of what actually is a business decline. Nothing yet. It'll be coming shortly.
Wow.
Another biggie for restaurants is the qualified improvement property depreciation. This may be a little technical, but basically what the IRS is saying that if you put in leasehold improvements to your restaurant, so you're going to reopen and you want to spiffy up the place, right? You're going to put new tables, counter, whatever it is. The IRS will now allow you to deduct 100% of the cost of those improvements this year against your income. So normally, because of a tax glitch, it used to be 39 years to deduct it. Then they tried to fix it to put it back 15. But in light of the virus and everything else, they're basically going to allow you to write off 100% of it this year. So if you're planning on reopening and spiffing up the place, making leasehold improvements, you'll be able to deduct them this year. That is the biggie for restaurants. Now, that only applies to restaurants. That's a restaurant.
That's not just a biggie for restaurants.
For everybody.
If I was a contractor, I'd be reaching out to all the restaurant owners I know.
Oh, well, yes. Yes, yeah. And those who provide the leasehold improvements.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Remember, we're talking about what's the other side of the pain. The other side is I need to build something. Who's going to help?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the contractors.
That would exactly.
So, yes. So that
work for property owners too. Like if you're a rental property,
you got to be in the restaurant business.
Oh, just restaurant. Okay.
This was the restaurant segment. So most of my tax digging was related to restaurants.
Okay. Well, no, but that's really good though, because does it apply if you're a lessee or renting a space for your restaurant, or you own a space? Does it apply? As long as it's a restaurant, it doesn't matter whether you own the property or rent it or lease it?
No. As long as it's your leasehold improvement. So if, for example, you sign the new lease and they give you $50,000 worth of leasehold improvements, you can't write that off because you haven't spent it. Basically, the landlord is doing it to make your space more rentable. But if you go out and spend $50,000, okay, on improving your restaurant, doesn't matter if you own it or you don't own it, we're just talking improving the restaurant, they will allow you to write it all this year.
Thanks, James.
That
was super duper helpful, and I want to give Celeste some time right now. Please. But I noticed you've done a lot of research on restaurants, and I want to invite you back next week to share more about that, because like that's really helpful. And I promise next week I'll make fewer jokes. I won't be as angry, and we'll get to hear more. But Celeste, you want me to share some things today that are going on in your world? What's happening?
Well, I've been having a lot of restaurant owners calling me about cash flow, of course, and how they're going to get through the time. And some people are already unemployed as well. I'm surprised by the number of people that are S corps that aren't going and applying for unemployment insurance. If you have your business closed and you've been receiving payroll, then you're eligible to receive that. And I saw, go ahead.
I have a quick question about that. So, a lot of, and Gina and I were talking about this earlier, a lot of business owners don't pay themselves a regular paycheck.
Yeah, take a draw.
They'll take a draw and then at the end of the year, true up with a payroll transaction.
Right.
How does that factor in if they've got a corporation?
Well, they won't. They're currently they're not getting unemployment for the parts that they're getting the draw on. If they're an S corp and they're I'm an S corp, I just take a payroll. I guess you could possibly can you take a draw on that? I don't know. As an S corp?
Sure. You could do that as a C corp also.
I know operations. I don't know tax, that kind of stuff.
That's why we have teams.
I did want to, okay, go ahead.
Okay. In applying for the PPP, which has run out of money, but they're refilling it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't heard that they're going to change the requirements of PPP. So as it is now, your 2.5 times your wage is an average. Mm-hmm. Even if you take a salary once a year and the look back period is 2019, and for argument's sake, you take $100,000 a year on December 31st, your average is about $8,300 a month. And you can use that because it's an average. It's not an actual when paid. It's an average calculation.
Right.
So for the Employment Development Department, that's what someone would put on?
Well, for the Employment Development Department, they now have a window open called the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. And there, I was just on the website before I got on the call. So there, what they're saying is that you can apply as a self-employed person. You're going to get $162 a week. And then from the period of March 31st through July 31st, they'll add an additional $600 on it. So it does not look like they're going to take what you made before. They're just going to give you this small stipend. Whereas the employee right now would get the small stipend and then get the $600 as well. So.
And okay, so the small stipend. And do you know what the process is?
Yeah, they look back at your how much pay you've received over the last year by quarter. They take the largest quarter that you made money and they divide it by 26. So for instance, if you made $5,000, it's going to come out to about $250 a week. Then they'll add the $600 on top of it. But they're not doing that for the self-employed from what I saw today. It's been a flat 162 before and after this 30-day period, but that 90-day period, but during the 90-day, you're going to get an additional $600. So that's not what people were hoping for the self-employed, but I guess it's better than nothing.
No, I get that. And so what's the process then?
They're just going to go to the unemployment site here in California and sign up. It's called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. But if you just put COVID self-employed unemployment, it'll take you right to the EDD. It's on the EDD website.
Okay, that's awesome. Gene, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yes, I actually have a client, a doctor, who is the only employee of his corporation. When they stopped all elective surgery, because basically his practice is surgery centers, and they closed, he went and filed for unemployment. his wages over the past 12 months is $200,000.
Yeah.
When they did the little mathematical calculation, they basically wound up giving him $640 a week because he's sort of maxed out with the $200,000 salary. And his last comment to me was, who lives on $640 a week?
Yeah.
Right. Well, is that a C Corp or an S Corp that he is?
C Corp.
Okay.
Let's see, right now, like if you had a busboy, for instance, that maybe made $150 a week as a busboy, right now, he might only come up with like $30-$40 a week, but now they're adding the $600 on. It's kind of weird. It's like, why did they give them more than they would have normally made? They should have only been brought to even, not like way above, so it was just kind of.
For some people it's way above, and for some people it's way under.
Right. It's way under.
Right. Plus, if busboy, besides putting down his wages, he should be including his tips.
Which they don't do generally.
Well, listen,
a lot of
guys.
these servers who didn't put down their tips don't get to see that as wage now, so they kind
That
of
doesn't affect the unemployment they got, right?
But for federal tax purposes, okay, your tips when you're in the wait staff,
right?
Your W-2.
Yes.
So that counts as wages when I be submitting it to the state.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, we're coming to the end of our time, but I just want to thank everybody. What a interesting conversation. Gene, love to have you back next Thursday. Are you open for that?
My honor.
Okay, great. So, Celeste, let's be tax heavy on Thursdays now. So, tell everybody.
So Tuesday we're going to have Kim from the food truck group will be here.
That'll be fun. I can't wait to hear about how her business is doing.
Yeah.
And let's brainstorm some great ways that she can make more, feed more people with food trucks now. Maybe we could just drive down the street. People can like run alongside 6 feet away and order. Okay, you guys, it's been fun. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We have our Finance Friday coming on with Todd Gervis and another special guest, and I will look forward to seeing you then. For now, have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.